It is Wednesday, August 27th, and oh my goodness, the cutdowns have happened. The waiver claims are in right now. A ton of NFL news moving in real time. Welcome to the live stream. We'll try to keep up with all of it as always. I'm brought to you by Ike of Ike Sandwiches. Get yourself an Ike sandwich. Our good friends at the Dubliner West Portal. And speaking of good friends, we've got two of them joining us today. Sam Batesh, who's jumping in for a double dip week once again because he said he can deliver, the one and only Andrew Siciliano, who will be joining us in just a little bit. And whenever you can get the NFL Red Zone OG to hop on with you, you do it. So Siciliano will be joining us in a little bit, and a great news day for football. Sammy, how are you? Good to see you, pal.
Again, 2-a-days for you and I. This is just what it is, right? Hell week. I'll call it heaven week, right? I mean, when it's supposed to be hell week when it's 2-a-days, but this for you and I is heaven week, and we're doing it yet again. The double dip. I love the double dip, and Andrew will certainly be here shortly as well. And by the way, you know, we talk about what Labor Day is, and it's you know, it's a celebration, of course, of you know, family, etc. But it's also like a goodbye to family. I mean, what happens? The weekend will never be the same after Labor Day. The weekend is forever changed. What Sundays now mean is so different that families across the country shudder at what Labor Day really is, you know? And so Andrew also has an unbelievable schedule. I mean, look, Andrew went from being in our living room every Sunday. Now he's in Browns fans' home every Sunday as the voice of the Cleveland Browns. So he has had a wild training camp in preseason, and now the regular season is going to start for him. And there's plenty to talk about with him about all of that. And I know we will. And I don't know, Damon, is there bigger news? I mean, it was cutdown day. And as I joked actually to Kruger yesterday for a moment, I told him, well, there's news out of Kansas City. There were some major cuts in Kansas City. I mean, every Travis Kelce ex-girlfriend was just axed from the roster yesterday. So that was a tough one. That was, well, you got to see coach and bring your playbook for all of the ex-girlfriends.
There's a lot of Turks running around there saying it's time to go see the coach, bring your playbook for sure.
That's it.
That was the fun of yesterday. And look, I really mean this. Congratulations to the happy couple. I hope it's true love. Be in love. And I'm going to take the under on the Chiefs right now because that guy's already a billionaire. He's living on Easy Street. Good luck to all involved.
It's tough when you don't want it the same way. I will say that it is the greatest underdog story. I know Travis Kelce isn't an underdog to a lot of us, but when you think about relationships and what that is and what his access may or may not have been to Taylor Swift, I'm sorry, but that's him taking a huge swing, and I give him all the credit in the world, Damon. That is a major win for guys everywhere who are saying, I wonder if you see a girl anywhere, and frankly, this is for girls and seeing guys. I mean, if you see someone that you like in the world, whoever you are and whatever you like, if you see someone and you're thinking to yourself, maybe I can't.
Should I shoot my shot?
You shoot your shot in life.
Shoot it.
Travis Kelce did it, and I'm telling you, this was not Taylor Swift was not a diehard Chiefs fan. Okay, this wasn't like he shot the shot and landed it in the way that we're all dreaming about, and he's dreaming it.
A pop star of that regard, that's QB squirrel. That ain't tight end squirrel. The tight end got that squirrel. So it's a big day for tight ends, tight end university. This has got to be great signs for all up and coming high school tight ends. It could happen to you. It could actually happen to you.
It can and it might, which is tremendous. So congratulations.
Lock it, load it, shoot your shot, boys and girls. Don't be shy. Okay, so it's great to have everyone here again. Siciliano will be joining us. We'll go over some big NFL headlines. The 49ers have added Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
MVS.
So Larry and I just basically gave it a rousing meh.
Okay.
I'm not excited about it. I'm calling him right now. This is Sky Moore on steroids. I'm not really excited about that signing at all. A guy like Hunter Renfrow or Malachi Corley would have absolutely interested me more. I would have used a waiver claim on Cleveland Farrell, on Dan Skipper to get a little defensive or offensive line help. Willie Lampkin, by the way, did you see who came for Willie Lampkin there?
So look.
What do the Eagles know about offensive line play?
Jeff Stoutland. But by the way, they had to fail somebody from Stoutland University, as they call it. So Jeff Stoutland is the incredible offensive line coach who will one day be Hall of Fame. I mean, they may come calling, but the bottom line is no matter whether he's that, he'll be the architect of the tush push. He will be forever solidified with that in history. So Jeff Stoutland is the offensive line and has been for many years. There's not a lot of people that carry over from the 2017 Super Bowl team to the 2024 Super Bowl team. He is one of them. Yep. Stoutland. So the trade of CJ Gardner-Johnson, which to Eagles fans is still not exactly, that's the one where people say, Howie, we don't know. That's a guy people liked in Philadelphia, CJ Gardner-Johnson. And they got a lineman from the Texans that was supposed to be the Mekhi Becton replacement. And guess what? He was cut yesterday. So what was supposed to be, okay, CJ Gardner-Johnson out, but now because Mekhi Becton moved on to the Chargers, we've got that answer. They didn't. So they did have to make an offensive line move to still solidify what's happened. They love their offensive line depth, and you're absolutely right. That's great.
A lot of names are on the scrap heap. A lot of names in that boneyard right now. You're playing dominoes. You want to go get 5 new ones. Today's a day where you might go about doing it. Now, like I said, we are doing a live stream on a day where NFL news is breaking by the minute. You know, the new player has gotten through waivers, didn't get through waivers, was claimed off of waivers, is signed somewhere. With all the names that you saw in the boneyard yesterday, Sam, what names interested you the most? Would
the guy that
Niners the best, or just who's the one guy out there you think, man, that's worth picking up and polishing and seeing if it doesn't fit?
I think the guy that made the greatest play that I saw in the preseason was DJU for the Chargers. It was against the Niners. DJ Ungalalele, GJ, it's close. I'm close there. But I mean, DJU as he's known. And by the way, he was known as DJU because he was such a 5-star recruit coming out of high school.
Right. And pronounce that name.
And people were lining up. I mean, when he chose a hat when it was signing day for DJU, that was a big deal when he let people know where he was going. And at the time, it looked like Dabo Sweeney, so not Debo Samuel, but Dabo Sweeney. It looked like had just a quarterback factory. He was going to follow up. It was with Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence and now DJU. It was going to be this incredible handoff. And DJU ended up being, I mean, if you look at it, he's got a whimper of a career at Clemson. I mean, it did not happen the way that it was supposed to. And then could it happen in the NFL for him? He made a touchdown pass against the Niners this past Saturday. Go back and look at it. Damon, that was a 100% NFL professional throw. And the guy looks like he can play quarterback.
I'll tell you, there's a million quarterbacks out there right now. I mean, if you want a quarterback, go get one, because teams just sent him, to the parking lot yesterday in cutdown days. When it comes to quarterbacking and teams, there is no team quite like the Cleveland Browns right now. And you can't think of the Cleveland Browns without bringing up this guy right here, Andrew Siciliano. He's even got the Cleveland hat on. I mean, way to fit the bill. First of all, Andrew, it's been a long time since we've seen you. I know you got a new gig on Yahoo. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be here. Inside coverage, 6:30 Eastern time, Monday through Thursday on the YouTubes and the Fast Channel and all that. And Damon, I'm wearing this hat because I haven't showered today. So this is me just jumping in front of the camera here. That's what this is. And also Parker Messick. Great 7 innings, 6 strikeouts in his big league debut yesterday.
Hey, let's have the parade just go right over the bridge that's got the Guardians on it that no one ever heard of until they changed the team name. So it is really good to have you here, Andrew. Obviously, Cutdown Day is always a very interesting day around the league as you pick up the headlines and put them down. What are some of the big ones that really stood out to you? Shocking cuts, either made or retained. What jumped out to you yesterday as you looked around the league?
I would look at just the waiver claims to begin with. Last year, there were 27 players claimed in this 24-hour window after Cutdown Day, 7 of which were claimed by the Panthers, who had the number 1 spot last year. This year, I think the number is 29, with 5 claimed by the Titans, who have the number 1 spot. It's usually, I guess my point is, it's not that it's much to do about nothing, but if you look at the 27 players claimed last year, there really weren't any that truly changed the fortunes of either the team that picked them up or the team that let them go. Certainly no one helped you in fantasy that was claimed off the waiver wire last year. Not that fantasy football is here truly what matters. A lot of the guys, the names that get cut, like names like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, for example, those are vested veterans who don't have to go through waivers. He signed with the Niners. Those are the interesting ones to me. Like Tommy Cutlets, everyone's making a big deal. Tommy DeVito got cut. As soon as they drafted Jackson Dart, he was over. Matter of fact, they could have done him a favor and gotten rid of him then in April. He lands with the Patriots. That's somewhat interesting. Like, it's the O-line movement that to me is interesting because everyone needs O-linemen right now. Like Kendall Lamb cut by the Eagles. Okay, he's going to go to Miami. Like those depth pieces, because those O-linemen always become a factor when the injuries mount later in the year.
Dan Skipper was a name that I think was a little bit of a surprise, right?
I mean, he's a vested veteran. He's going to go back to Detroit. I guarantee you they told him, just go home, have a cup of coffee. Don't worry about it. We'll call you tomorrow. Because the Lions were one of those teams that didn't cut to 53. They cut to 50, right? Because they knew they had some other furniture to rearrange.
Andrew, I got to start with something that you've been really close to, and you and I have had incredibly candid conversations. And this has been, by the way, but first, let's say this, Damon. I know we're going to do this day in history. Andrew won't be here for it. I know he's got to run. He's got 1,000 things going on before the Brown season kicks. But Andrew, happy birthday. We're a few hours ahead. We're a few hours ahead of time, a few hours ahead of schedule. But happy birthday to Andrew.
Have you broken 50 yet? Are you in the north side?
I have. So okay. I have, Damon, which means we're no longer counting.
So, yeah. Birthdays are fun when you can double them. You get to 50, you're like, stop.
Exactly. But I will say this much. Last year on his birthday was around the time Andrew found out that the team he rooted for growing up will now be his full-time job, essentially, or his full-time football job, if you will. But I mean, Voice of the Browns, Andrew, that was pretty amazing. And the fact that it came together, of course, your birthday is right around the time when football season starts, but that was pretty cool. And what an amazing year it was for you to get entrenched in everything with the Browns. Not that you already weren't based on being a fan, but you and I have spoken so much about just how it is to be a part of that every single day. And then, of course, there's a team. I mean, when you talk about the preseason, I think Jackson Dart was maybe the story of the preseason. I thought overall, like start to finish, that was the greatest maybe run of anybody. But the Browns have had some pretty significant headlines in the preseason. You've been a huge part of all of that. What does it look like? Kenny Pickett's a Raider now. I mean, it's been so fascinating for you. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do the obvious question, and then I want you to give something that isn't being talked about. All right. So let's start with the quarterback room. Whatever you want to tell us about the quarterback room, I just think it's been the most fascinating quarterback room. People are excited about Shedeur Sanders. Joe Flacco led this team to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Kenny Pickett was taking a knee in the Super Bowl not so long ago.
I wish he led them to the Super Bowl 2 years
yeah, exactly. Sorry, to the playoffs, right? Kenny Pickett's taking a knee in the Super Bowl. Dylan Gabriel's drafted ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, just say his name, and that means something. Tell us about the quarterback room, and then have a little more fun with this one. Tell us something that we wouldn't know. It's not like the Browns were on Hard Knocks. Tell us something that you found that was a really big, positive moment from the Browns preseason that had nothing to do with quarterbacks.
I would say the quarterback room, it kind of went the way people thought it would, with the exception of Kenny Pickett getting hurt, right? I do think, and I've said this publicly plenty of times, that if Kenny Pickett hadn't hurt his hamstring, there's a good chance he would be the week 1 starting quarterback. People push back against that and say, Kenny Pickett's never done anything. That's not true. He was 15-10 as a starter in both Pittsburgh and the one game, week 17 last year in Philadelphia. I know quarterback win-loss record isn't the stat that everyone loves, but he has 8 fourth quarter comebacks in his career. They thought that there was a quarterback there with upside, a guy that was still young, first round pedigree, and that with a different play caller, a different O-line, that there was something there to build with. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. He got hurt. And I think, listen, while they were willing to keep 4 quarterbacks, 3 is a lot easier, especially when you have injuries at linebacker and at corner and you have to do some other roster juggling. So somebody was willing to give them the same pick they gave up. So they flipped a 5 to Philly. They got a 5 back. It makes it a heck of a lot easier. And I think now Pete Carroll has a legitimate backup here with some upside if Geno Smith, for some reason, can't get through the season. As for Dylan Gabriel, and by the way, that move was made a lot easier because Dylan Gabriel has looked good in these 2 games. And Shedeur Sanders had a great game in Carolina with very limited practice time with the 1s and the 2s, but he was throwing in that game with guys that he had been throwing with the entirety of camp to that point. I think Shedeur had a really good game, and he had a game where he wasn't good. I mean, you can't take away from that. He's the number 3. He's going to run the scout team right now. The future is bright for him, truly. Dylan Gabriel's the backup, and we'll see how far Joe Flacco goes. Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, said in his annual training camp presser a month ago that there will come a time this season, in all likelihood, where you see the rookie quarterbacks. I think organizationally, you have to see the rookie quarterbacks because you do have the 2 number 1s from next year. Real quick, something that maybe hasn't been seen to answer that question: how much these guys all get along. The Browns have done a series on clevelandbrowns.com called The Man Under Center. If you go back and look at the initial episode, there's a story where Shedeur is looking at the camera talking about trying to impress Joe and how much like Joe's almost like a second dad, and like he'll learn something from Joe in practice or in the meeting room and then go out there and do it, and then like look at Joe like, hey, did you see that? Like I learned that from you. And they really do get along.
I just would like to see the Browns elevate Shedeur to number 2, whether it's real or not, just so everyone in the media can talk about something else.
There's no vast conspiracy. Like, and I've seen this plenty of places. There's no vast conspiracy.
The whole like we're setting him up to fail. Like, do any of you people realize how football teams work and don't work? And there's not a single player in this league that is intentionally being set up to fail by the team that drafted him. Failure is going to happen pretty naturally anyways for a lot of these guys. You don't need to set anybody up for failure.
Rookie quarterbacks have good and bad moments. No one correct. You said what you said. I'll go back to Mike Greenberg from Get Up on Monday morning. He broached the subject and, almost put his hands up and stepped away from the conversation and said, it is almost ridiculous to bring this up, but I know it is ridiculous, but I'm going to bring up the ridiculous and like apologize even for the topic bar. He didn't apologize for the topic bar, but you get my point. There's nothing going on here other than a team trying to figure out who their best quarterback is. And right now it's the 40-year-old veteran.
You want to do something unfair? Let's talk about the first coach to be fired in this upcoming NFL season, because that's where an awful lot of people are talking. Let's just hop right into it. For the first time in a long time, Brian Daboll's not the number 1 name on the board at 4-1. It's Mike McDaniel now at 2-1. It's amazing how fast blooms come off roses and honeymoons end. By the way, Kevin Stefanski is on this list, but you don't see him at 6-7 on this list. He's not going anywhere this year, I don't think. Kyle Shanahan, 33-1 to be the first coach fired in football. What would have to happen for that to happen?
To go winless, and there have to be some like public spat with ownership. So that's not going to happen. Right. I mean,
I got an interesting one here. We talk about coaches and what might happen. And look, last year certainly saw with Robert Saleh. Obviously, that was stunning at the timing of it last season when that went down. The other thing about coaching and coach of the year, I want to flip it from sort of firing to coach of the year. A lot of times that happens if you take a team from worst to first, and we look at all the teams this year that could potentially go worst to first. The Niners, Damon, you and I have spoken so much about the Niners, the schedule they have, the opportunity they have to go worst to first. Andrew, I saw something 2 days ago. The Giants with their preseason point differential, which who the hell is keeping track of that? But the last 7 teams that had a plus 60 point differential since 2009, those 7 teams, the Giants now the 8th, 6 made the playoffs, 2 won the Super Bowl, and all 7 combined for 11 wins per. That's a pretty remarkable stat. I don't know if the Giants are on that list to be the biggest surprise, worst to first. The Browns are certainly on that list. The Raiders had a major makeover in this offseason. The Titans have Cam Ward. There's a lot. We talked about the Niners, as I already said. Is there what do you see outside of Cleveland, maybe, Andrew? Is there a team where you're looking worst to first that you could see really making noise?
I'll take the Bears. Why not?
Yeah,
why not? They were 5-12. Now they're in a really good division.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's maybe not the wisest solution. No, now hold on. Do the Panthers count? Because technically they were in 3rd place in the South, and they were tied with the Saints at 5-12. I don't think the Panthers, by the way, are going worst to first, but I'm just looking for the rules to this game here. I don't think it's the Patriots, even though people are bullish on the Patriots. I would say, look, Bears fans will always have that primetime Sunday night game against the Bills, where that opening drive where Caleb marched him down the field 93 yards. And to me, it was kind of like, to bring it back to the Panthers, that moment last year when I turned on the game in Germany and saw Bryce Young marching up and down the field against the Giants. And I'm like, I know that guy. That was the guy that Alabama had.
Alabama.
I saw that. Wait, I know. I've seen him before. And I feel like watching that Bears game against the Bills, that was what I thought about Caleb. Like, oh my God, like I saw that guy at USC. I know who that is. Now, whether or not that means worst to first, Bears have invested on their O-line and their D-line, which I think is important here because remember, guys, the Lions won not only with really good play calling, but they were a bully up front too, and that's what's key to the Bears winning. Bringing in Joe Thuney and Dahlman and all the pieces and all the moves they made on the O-line to me means a lot, but you still got to go out there and do it.
And maybe I should have made the rules double the win total. I think would be interesting. Take a last place team, double the win total. I did. I said there are worse to first, and I like that but I would say even, wouldn't it be shocking or wouldn't it be impressive if a team doubled their win total one year to the next? That's pretty impressive and pretty difficult.
I'm not going to get in the prop gambling game here. I'm going to go worst to first.
I like it. I like that you went there. And the Bears certainly have that opportunity if Caleb is going to. I mean, look, he's not going to lead the league in sacks again. You would like to think, or set a rerecord for sacks of all time. You would like to think.
Just that's all I got to do. Just get rid of the ball, kid. Stop eating all these yards in the wrong direction. I know that you got a boogie here soon, Siciliano, and you got a busy day in front of you. Let me ask you kind of like an overall arcing. Don't these teams learn? Don't they watch what other teams do right and wrong and learn from each other? I heard this was a copycat league. Why are so many teams going to the mattresses over contract negotiations only to come out of it paying top and premium dollar anyways, and the only thing you bought yourself was a preseason absence and a whole bunch of work that might have been put into this player, and now it's not? I mean, this is Trey Hendrickson. This is Terry McLaurin. This is what's going on in Dallas right now with Micah Parsons. Everyone knows Micah Parsons is going to get paid here, and he's going to get paid top dollar. There's no way around it. There will be no Groupon used on him. Why do so many owners delay the inevitable when it only costs them practice snaps?
So this one's layered here. I would say that the Dallas one is a bit different because you're cutting the agent out of it, and there's a lot of stubbornness here, and that one could have easily been avoided and should be avoided, and they're their own worst enemy there. I think both sides are kind of their own worst enemy there, to be quite frank. The Washington and Cincinnati ones are a bit different because when you look at the actual paper on the deals, you could argue the teams won. Like in Washington, it's not a $96 million deal. God bless Terry McLaurin. I love the guy. Like, I wanted him to get paid.
2 years, $40 million, and then we'll see.
It's really 2 years, 44. Yeah, there's an option bonus there in year two that I'm not entirely certain if it's truly guaranteed. But if you get out of there with 2 years, 44, that's a win. Even 2 years, 54, to me, I would argue is a win. Although Terry McLaurin could say, I'll take 2 years, 54. That's more than what I had on my deal, and that's a win for me as well. So maybe it's a push there. In Cincinnati, they could have done this deal 6 months ago. I mean, they add $14 million to the deal. They can't realistically tag him. So now that's not on paper. I'm with you. They should have done this deal. And Trey Hendrickson was like, I thought Trey Hendrickson was going to just go home. Like, he's going to pull Carson Palmer and go home. I would not have been stunned if he had done that. I keep my fingers crossed. He deserves a big payday. I hope he gets through this year healthy, takes his 30 and gets out of there and gets paid somewhere else, because this is in all likelihood the Bengals last year with Trey Hendrickson.
Wow. Andrew, I know you got to get running. I'm going to ask you one last one to get out of here with. It's two-pronged, of course, which is really not one last question, but two. So I apologize for that. But Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, we are celebrating your birthday tomorrow, but the engagement, I want a quick thought from you on that, wherever you want to take it. And I know you saw, you were there, you explained the story of seeing Taylor at the Super Bowl this past season and what it meant when she left and how many people were waiting for her. And that was an awesome story, even if you want to just retell that. And number two, the documentary that Damon's really into, that a lot of people are watching right now on Jerry Jones. You were there for the premiere of this. And I just, your number one takeaway from really reliving what Jerry Jones' version of the Cowboys history is and how that hit you. Because Damon and I spent a lot of time talking about it last week, and it has resonated with me. I've told people that aren't even sports fans at all that they should be watching it, but I want to hear that. So a quick Taylor, Travis, hello, congrats to them. And then whatever you want to give me on the documentary that Jerry Jones has put out there.
I'll go last, and then I'll go in backwards order. I think that was binging it Sunday night. I watched another episode last night. I think it's amazing television. Yeah, it's kind of a love letter to the Cowboys and Jerry there, but it doesn't paint him in a totally glorious light. Some of the old footage, especially early with like Bill O'Reilly and the Saturday Night Massacre,
George Bush,
like the Bush. Great that they got a former president to sit down. The look on Tex Schramm's face when Jerry says, "I want his job." I mean, it is fantastic TV. They spend great money on the music as well. Right. So I can't recommend it enough. Also, I think the new Hard Knocks is good as well. You should check out the podcast that I do.
And the podcast afterwards is hosted by a pretty good looking guy from what I understand.
And as for Taylor, I'm happy for him. They're two lovebirds. He's just a gym teacher from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and she's just a reformed Eagles fan. And, you know, I hope they could do the wedding at Huntington Bank Field.
I think probably sell it out. Everybody gets a friendship bracelet when it's all said and done. Andrew, friendship bracelet in the mail to you. Thank you so much for joining us real quick. Happy birthday ahead of your birthday tomorrow. And let's do this again when the season starts and you can carve out a little bit of time. We know you're being pulled in a million different directions. Thanks for coming in this direction for a little bit today.
For you guys. Always love you.
Thank you so very much. Andrew Siciliano, boys and girls. That is your Red Zone OG right there. I wish we love him. Red Zone OG. I miss Andrew on my Sundays. I do.
Look, Andrew and I are friends for over 20 years, much like you and me, Damon. And, you know, as soon as the only positive in a way to that moment in time when Andrew was no longer in our living room every Sunday is that as his friend, I got to enjoy a little more football with him. That was, you know, that was sort of like there was that, you know, that was a nice bonus, but overall it didn't last very long.
Siciliano, are you enjoying him from your couch? No, now I'm enjoying him on my couch.
On my couch, which was a different experience. And then, of course, like I said, what a birthday at 50 for him to become the voice of the Browns. It's pretty, I mean, that's pretty amazing. And again, this isn't just, happens to be the Browns job. Again, this is a guy from DC whose father was a Browns fan, who raised him as a Browns fan. You saw the Indians Guardians hat there. Andrew is Cleveland from a sports standpoint, the same way I'm born in LA, but a Philadelphia guy because of my dad. That's what Andrew is. And I mean, talk about, you know, when they say you don't work a day in your life when you do what you love. I mean, Browns play-by-play voice for a Browns fan growing up. I'm sorry, but that's full circle.
The only hard part of that job has to be not swearing on the air, because that's a lot, being the Browns play-by-play guy.
Again, think about it. 2 seasons ago, #1 defense, Joe Flacco leading them to the playoffs, an ugly finish against Houston in that playoff game. But, you know, Stefanski's had things looking great at times.
The Niners around a couple of years ago. They did.
Yes.
They did.
So, you know, it's not so impossible there. But, yeah, Damon, I don't know that you and I gave the proper kiss to Taylor and Travis there, but that's a big one that came on Cutdown Day. For that to be, you know, sort of the #1 story at the end was pretty amazing.
That's the only thing I didn't like about it. I mean, like, you had every day of the universal calendar to choose from, and you choose to announce it on that day. Now, I know that it's got to have some sort of like numerology. There's always a time that's press send. Everything, like, there's all sorts of Easter eggs built into everything she does. Hey, you know, go forth, be fruitful, and multiply. Go, God bless. You know, I'm happy when people are happy, and they look legitimately happy together. So good for them. You know, it feels like in a world of superficial celebrity, they're two kind of legit people, and just great. How about that? We're more interested in people dating than being married. So let them get married, and then we don't have to talk about them anymore. They're just an old fogey married couple. Yes, I'm tired of it. I told my buddy
the other day, I said, being fianced is actually a pretty good, like, there's still a lot of romance in the engagement period. You know, that's still got good fodder. So, you know, we'll see what happens. And that's pretty exciting. But I love what Andrew said. And, you know, if we want, we can take this in a couple of directions, obviously, but just to put a cap on the Cowboys documentary, which we spent a lot of time on last week. I don't know that you and I unpacked this part of it. We talked so much about the Niners, and you cannot tell the history of the Cowboys without the 49ers. So let's
3 and episode 5 are
and
all
frankly,
about the Niners.
And again, just think about what the Cowboys were chasing at that time. I mean, yes, the history of their own success earlier in decades prior, and with Tom Landry really being sort of a shadow of himself, is how it seems within the documentary. But the Niners are such a huge part of that history. The Cowboys are who they are. The version that Jerry is telling, they are who they are because of what they were able to do versus the 49ers. That's what it meant. But I want to say this part of it. You and I didn't discuss this part of it. and I've consumed even more of it now. I can't put it down. You know, it's like a book that you just can't stop reading. The Herschel Walker thing is, there's a big part of the history of that Cowboys dynasty predicated and tied to the trade of Herschel Walker, the draft picks that were received and what they were turned into. And that, in many ways, you know, people like to say that's the moment the Herschel Walker trade made that dynasty. And there's a little bit, not a little bit, there's a lot of conversation about who deserves the credit or whose idea it was. And
it's part of the breakup. That's the epicenter of the breakup between Jerry and Jimmy. Who got credit for what? Who gets to take the bow for the 3 Super Bowls? Well, the 2 with Jimmy. Who gets to take a bow for the back-to-back? Who gets to take a bow over the Herschel Walker trade? Who gets to bow deeper?
And I don't know where you stand on it. I mean, I took away from that. I think I still, even it's Jerry's documentary who put it out there. And you would think that would make me side the other way, but what I watched made me feel like it was Jimmy's. I feel like it was Jimmy's footprint all over, right? Like, I feel like no matter what, Jimmy had to go to the mattresses about it, no matter what. Like, even if Jerry had a dream and pictured it, or like he said, got a phone call from someone who mentioned, you know, Herschel's our best player, but maybe we trade him. Jerry may have heard that, and Jerry may have, but I know what came through perfectly clear was Jimmy's the one who knew what they deserved to get and needed to get to make it worth it.
Look, Jimmy Johnson is a lot of things. You know, I mean, he is full of great ideas. He's full of some bad ideas. His ego every now and then spreads the credit around, and every now and then wants it all for himself. I mean, he is a fascinating guy. And I'll tell you, he has earned the right to be this arrogant SOB that can either sink or swim his own ship, because he did build something. You know, the Dallas Cowboys did exist, but what he's pulled out of thin air has changed football forever. I mean, there is no argument that Jerry Jones is as impactful to this league and the business that it does and the celebrity that it enjoys as any commissioner, probably even more so, because he basically told commissioners, hey, the way you're doing things is the wrong way to do it. And I am going to literally spit in your rule book right in front of you, show you that I make more money spitting on your rule book than you do being, you know, devoted to your rule book. And then again, the minute you can prove to me there are fewer crashes with automated drivers, we'll all drive automated cars. The minute I can prove to you we can make more money this way than this way, every owner is going to want to be like, let's do it that way. Jimmy understands greed better than anybody else in this league, and he capitalized on that. And he rebuilt the NFL with his own ideas, pissing on their old ideas. And there's something very mavericky about that. I also thought the star of the whole damn thing is Michael Irvin.
So
Michael Irvin is just the best. This guy shares success and flaws like nobody else. And I thought he was the far and away, that guy deserves now his own Netflix documentary breakout. Like there's always a spinoff of a really big show. Michael Irvin should be the spinoff.
So Michael Irvin's so good in this, the playmaker, and you almost forgot. I've forgotten that was his nickname. Am I crazy? But I've just forgotten that. I don't know why it just didn't stick.
In my phone, and when he would call me, because we were doing weeklies together when I was on the radio. Amazing. And it got to the point where we became friends. We still exchange Christmas cards. I love that. I send a Christmas card to Michael Irvin every year, and he sends one to me, and I just address it, the Playmaker, in my phone, Playmaker, HOF.
I love that. And I will say my only complaint about Michael Irvin through the whole thing is that the collar on his shirt is a little tucked under the jacket in a way that I wish a producer had just said to him. Just fluff. I mean, Michael Irvin, first of all, I've seen him with collars that really pop. I actually have a device that'll keep your collar up when you have a jacket on it. And I wish I could have given him one, because Michael Irvin should pop in every time I see him. He should have the mink coat on that, of course, he talks a lot about within the documentary that he wore when he was in court. That was my only concern with Michael Irvin the whole time, was that I wanted his shirt to pop even more than it did. Outside of that, you're right. For him to be as down to earth about all the things that happened to him and honest about where he was in his life, and both the highs and the lows, was such a tremendous part of it. But I will say, and we brought it up with Andrew, I mean, GW, I mean, to have President Bush involved, and even the first voice you hear within that documentary was I mean, what a pull that is. I mean, what an ultimate, just savage sort of mic drop on everything. Like George Bush is talking about what it was to be a Cowboys fan. That puts the Cowboys on a certain level right away, doesn't it?
No, he's from Texas. Of course he's a Cowboys fan. Like, I wasn't impressed at all. Of course George Bush is a Cowboys fan. No, people haven't asked George Bush to talk about anything other than all the things that he fucked up. So this is one chance he gets to sit down and do a nice interview. I mean, I wasn't surprised by that at all. Of course, you were going to get a president in there from Texas. I will say I liked it. I liked that. The other thing, of all the things I never thought I'd say, Deion Sanders is almost a subdued version of himself. Yeah. I mean, he explains what prime is, but it's not like to see him with the glasses now from a Colorado standpoint. There's such. He's allowed. Look, he should be cocky and confident. He's Deion Sanders, right? But there's a little bit of like, I don't know. There's a tinge of why are you asking me that question when I hear Deion speak that I feel like he should be a little more calm about. You know, he is still in a new space. Like, he's not Nick Saban, right? I mean, he's still in a fairly new space in regards to college football coaching and recruiting. It's okay to be asking him questions about the construction of Colorado or the future of that program when they lose massive, you know, Hall of Fame players from their program this season. So Deion, the coach, should come hat in hand in front of the media and be a bit humble. Deion, the Hall of Fame cornerback, can be the, you know, arrogant guy talking about there was nobody better than me, and he's got a point. And to remember him as what he was with the 49ers and with the Cowboys, and to hear him speak about it in a way where he was also growing up, you know, I mean, he was sort of becoming he was in Atlanta, of course, who he was, but to see him live the emotion of what it meant. And look, there were plays he made and plays he didn't make in that history with Niners and Cowboys. It was awesome to see him. And to really think about him as part of the triplets, which you don't, because he's a Niner in my eyes that was stolen to the Cowboys. He's not a part of the triplets. He's
right.
Not.
Exactly. And then to see, though, how for Jerry to understand, though, a missing piece was pretty amazing. And to go back and relive what it was to make Deion a Cowboy was really special from a free agency standpoint. You know, as bad as the Giants losing Saquon to the Eagles was, and when that to see Jerry winning Deion on the other side of it was a really nice stab at you if you're a Niners fan, to think like, oh wow, if we had just figured out a way to pony up that money, would it never have happened? But it was awesome to see both sides of it.
Bigger mistake is this, and Chef A's on it. Do you think that Jimmy Jones, she means Jimmy Johnson, is a little bit crazy? Oh yeah, here's the thing. Jimmy Johnson, all he wanted to do is win. He didn't care whose grandmother had to be run over with a truck to get it done. He didn't care about feelings. He didn't care about player emotion. He didn't care about instilling confidence in anybody. He just wanted to win, and he would cut your throat to do so. He was a savage. Jimmy Johnson was a little bit too nuts. One of the things he says, he's like, yeah, Jerry and I both probably could have been a little bit better to each other along the way. That's one of the realizes that he makes. They're always crazy. And speaking of crazy, Charles Haley, like we forgot how absolutely, if Charles Haley were happening today, he would be put in a straitjacket and probably have to go to the same anger counseling that Draymond got pushed into by the NBA a few years ago. Like, Charles Haley was able to exist in a world that would no longer even allow Charles Haley to exist in it. So
it was so great to see that. And actually, and you know what the most impactful moment was, and I'm sorry to take it down to this notch and you know, sorry, but like blunt moment coming up, but Barry Switzer talking about seeing and sort of experiencing his mother die dramatically the way that she did, and how that impacted his life. I don't know that I've ever thought about Barry Switzer much beyond as an Eagles fan, not enjoying that it was just another season the Cowboys were winning. You know, I mean, that's it. To see and experience Barry Switzer as a person in that moment, how much more likable is he now in my eyes, you know, to know that what he became from, I mean, there's nothing more, when he tells that story, there just is not a more devastating moment in anybody's life than what he witnessed.
And how about the fact that, you know, during he got hired as the coach, he's sitting there being, Jerry, you better hope you're right. He was crazy. It was like he was doing lines of coke off a toilet 5 minutes before the damn press conference started. He was out of his mind.
It was really, really spectacularly done.
I've watched every episode now. I'm through it all. I recommend it highly. Sammy does too. Check it out. No matter who you root for, if you're a football fan and you're a child who spent part of if your nostalgia is 90s based, this 8-part documentary just hits you right in the feels somehow, some way. Each and every single, I mean, just look at the evolution of the hair on the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and how it went from 80s up to 90s a little bit down, and the Rachel happened, and they're evolutions. Speaking of evolution, and I've known this for weeks now, and Sammy, I've been wanting to talk about it for weeks now, but I was asked by Bob Sargent to not say anything. And I appreciate when Bob tells me things off the record. And the reason why I get good information is because I got a few people around the Niners who tell me shit off the record. As we all know, and everybody is sending nothing but thoughts and vibes and everything to Greg Papa to get better. The 49ers are considering, how they're going to negotiate this season without Greg. And basically, the official plan is, and it is the right plan, is if Greg is healthy enough to step back into this year, welcome back, baby. Throw your arms around him. Greg Papa's back, everybody. But they are putting the year together as if that is not going to happen. This is the smart plan to have. We got a press release from the 49ers today as to who is going to be doing these games. We know that Guy Haberman will be doing the majority of them, but Guy also has a contract to be doing Big Ten games, and there's a few weekends and things that he cannot get out of. And, you want to be doing big college games. It's the NFL isn't the only thing out there. So Guy has a few masters to serve. He will be spending an awful lot of time, though, being the main fill-in. They're also going to be going with Justin Alleghieri, who has been doing Cal football for a long time now. And he's a San Jose State guy. So he did a lot of Spartan football. He's known in the Bay Area. He'll be doing a couple Niners games. Troy Clarity, who is done.
Whoa. Damon.
Clarity.
Big round of applause there. Can we just pause that for a moment? Troy Clarity. Back to 99 with you and I. Troy, who is proud voice of the Stanford Cardinal, but doing this now for the Niners as well. I mean, Troy has had an unbelievable career. He fought in the trenches with us through all of the, from everything behind the scenes to then being behind the mic. And congratulations, Troy. That's a big moment.
Here's all you need to know about how much of an OG Troy Clarity is here in the Bay Area broadcasting scene. He's been yelled at by Lee Hammer.
That's all you need. That's a tree. That's a coaching tree.
Yeah. If you've been yelled at by Lee Hammer, you're old in the business. Carlos Ramirez is also going to be getting a game for the 49ers. He has been doing NBC Sports Bay Area pre and post game for the Niners, for the Giants. So Carlos Ramirez is going to be doing a game, and Carlos has actually been doing preseason games in other markets for years now, so it won't be all new to him. What I think is really cool is one way the 49ers want to honor Greg Papa, and this is what Sarge was telling me about, and I thought that's awesome. So Greg Papa was able to walk off the campus of Syracuse and straight into the Pacers job, right? Greg got signed to do Pacers play-by-play when he was like 22 years old, 23 years old, really, really young. First job out of school was an NBA play-by-play gig for Greg Papa. To sort of pay that forward, a kid named Jack Smith, who's from San Jose, went to Midi, and just earned his degree from USC in May. He just graduated from May in 2025. He was also the recipient of the Jim Nantz Award in 2025, which honors the nation's most outstanding collegiate sports broadcaster. And they're going to give this young man, Jack Smith, a game to honor Greg and paying it forward to young broadcasters. I think that's really cool. And I'm rooting for everyone to have great calls, obviously. But I'll tell you, Sammy, I'll come back to this in a second. any young man who still wants to be a broadcaster should be nurtured and developed, because there aren't a lot of young men and women who even want to do that anymore, and rightfully so, because the world that we're living in is so shifted underneath our feet. It's a bad career to choose right now. It really is. It's a bad career to choose. But good luck, kid. Good luck to all involved. I hope it all goes smoothly. But more than anything, we hope for a speedy recovery for Greg, and hopefully he's back in the booth as soon as he's able to be there.
Greg Papa, we love you. I love you. I certainly sent and received the message from you. And frankly, the last time that the three of us were together, Damon, was in Las Vegas before that Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Niners. And Papa was doing his show at KMBR, and we were there on what is now called, I believe, Media Row, not Radio Row. It'll be Content Corner soon. That'll be what they change Radio Row to. But we were there with Greg and sharing a moment with him, and he is just such a tremendous person. He's been such a friend to us. We're decades of being in this space together with him. And yes, we wish him only the best. And congratulations to those. I think you're right. As far as the Jim Nantz Award winner, I was a part of that for years at CBS. And Jim was a big part of that. And I'm thrilled with what he does as far as paying it forward. And that's going to be an incredible opportunity for that young man. And, calling a Niners game. I mean, look, we're talking about the Jerry Jones documentary. You talk about the history of this league. You want to talk about the history of broadcasting. You tell somebody, oh yeah, I called a Niners game this season. I mean, that's going to be a big deal for whoever gets to do it once or 10 times. And of course, we hope Greg's on every game. And you and I are certainly touchdown Raiders before we're touchdown Niners for Greg Papa in our minds forever, right? I mean, Woodley won't go down.
I cut that. That's my highlight. I did that.
You did.
Every time you hear that on NFL Network, that came from Damon Bruce's fingertips.
There are just, for us, moments burned in our mind forever that will be Greg Papa. And the fact that he's got another Hall of Fame broadcasting career now with the Niners is awesome. Tip of the cap. Greg, we love you. We can't wait to hear you.
Yeah. Vince wants to know who won the Damon Bruce Award. Sammy's a candidate right here and now. He's the only one applying for the position. We'll see if he gets it.
Look, it's tough. Sometimes you got to run again. Yeah, what's it called? When you run on the ballot without anybody else, and they're basically just voting if they want someone, an incumbent. Is that so? They're really just deciding whether it's me or nobody, and that's okay. That's all right. We may just completely cancel it. Ike, obviously, I could give that award away every year. That'd be a good one. The Damon Bruce, and that's what you win, of course, is a Damon Bruce sandwich from Ike's. Yeah, of course.
By the way, go ahead and pick yourself up an Ike sandwich today. Hopefully you live around one somewhere in your delivery area. And if not, move. Get to an Ike's. I don't know where, if you need your school district that your kids are going to as much as you need an Ike sandwich for lunch today. Get yourself to Ike's, and hopefully there's one opening near you soon. All you have to do is be in America, and hopefully there's one coming to you soon. This is growing. It is the Dubliner in West Portal. We love you guys very, very much. My kind of folks at the Dubliner West Portal. He picks you up, drops you off. Get your Ikes delivered to you at the Dubliner West Portal. Enjoy some Giants baseball with a drink in your hand. You're going to need it, because the Giants don't put any bats in their own hands, although they got Verlander a big win just last night. Anyways, Sammy, can I just give you a little, since we're both radio lifers, and just a little bad news for the industry? I want to say this delicately. By the way, when I'm saying this about me. In the history of broadcasting schools, broadcasting opportunities, student radio, you don't go to Harvard to get into radio. There's nobody at Stanford who then hopes to have a radio career. There's nobody really at Cal anymore, right? You do not get into a great school and then study broadcasting for the most part. Some few exceptions, but for the most part, radio people have always been the C plus student in the back who's just witty and wants to talk, don't really want to study, just want to talk. So city colleges, community colleges, junior colleges have always been the hotbed of student radio and college radio, because, how do I say this delicately? You're a city college moron. You check the moron box. You're there. If you really wanted to be a student, you wouldn't be at city college, but you're here. You need to get the bus pass that gets you on the bus to a career in broadcast. I tell you all that to tell you this. Yesterday, Sam, I went over to City College of San Francisco because I'm looking to maybe involve my YouTube page in their intern program. I need an intern. I can't afford to hire anyone to come here. I need some video help. I need some video editing. A cool young college kid who knows more about slicker shit than I do. It would be wonderful. So I went over there. We'll see what happens. Great first meeting. But they showed me around the campus, showed me around their, creative arts building. So to go to City College of San Francisco, if you live in San Francisco, you can go there for free. If you live in San Francisco, you can take any class at City College. So basically, all you got to do is walk in, say, I want to study this, and they'll teach it to you. They no longer have a radio program because they haven't had anybody even express interest in getting into radio as a broadcaster or as a medium for like years now. Coming out of COVID, their radio operations have basically died. And all I'm going to tell you, if radio is dying at the City College level, the entire industry doesn't even have a decade left. Seriously. Like, I've always known radio's been in a lot of trouble, but what I saw yesterday, they're not even teaching it to the biggest group of people who might be wanting to get into it on a campus where that happens and has happened in the past and now isn't happening at all. They didn't stop offering radio because they lost their budget. They stopped offering radio because all incoming students lost interest in being in it in the first place. That was a little sobering yesterday.
Agreed. Look, you and I, this microphone's unnecessary. I could do it without it. It looks like a radio microphone, so I like that. It reminds me of where you and I began, right? I mean, this looks frankly older than even something we would have used.
I wish my microphone could drop from the ceiling like in the beginning of a Rocky movie.
Yes.
And I can hold it like this, Michael Buffer style, and do it. I want the most old school WRKO circular microphone that looks like the thing in the Dune movie that they put in front of the guy to translate. That's what I would want.
So you and I are cut from that cloth. I do want to say this though. And instead of a funeral, I'm going to make it a bar mitzvah. Okay. I'm going to turn your funeral into a bar mitzvah. You ready for this? So bar mitzvah in the Jewish tradition is,
as long as it's not a bris, I'll be good.
It's not. We're not cutting anything. And that should not be a public ceremony for anybody. I mean, I'll eat a bagel with you anytime. I don't need to watch that happen to your kid to eat a bagel with you. Let's just go get a bagel. How about that? All right. You can bring the kid too, but I don't need to see any of that operation in front of me live with a guy who does not look like he's certified to do anything near that part of my body. So that being said, and congrats to all the Moyles that are listening and watching us right now.
Working hard out there.
And if you're a Moyle, you should also be looking at a new career path as well. But okay, so instead of the funeral to radio, I'm going to give it a bar mitzvah. And a bar mitzvah in the Jewish tradition is when a young man or woman, boy, girl, becomes a man or woman. That's the term. Not being political here. You're considered a man. You're considered a woman. Let's just end it at that.
First night, you're going to try to go up the blouse of your cousin.
Technically, that's exactly. Now it's 13, so I think it's a little ahead of its time. I think to tell a 13-year-old you're a man is hilarious, but that's what your grandmother's telling you, and you're like, what are you talking about? But okay, so. You're a man, but it's a transformation. So I want to say that radio is having a bar mitzvah in this moment for you when you go to City College and hear that. Here's what happens. Great line, Sam Bruno, Mike.
Take the bagel, leave the foreskin.
And it's so true. I mean, that should be that's a slogan for every Moyle. If you are on Moyle and you don't have that tagline, use it, please, and send Bruno Mike the proceeds. But the bar mitzvah here, the coronation for radio is this. And maybe you already pitched them on this. But if that class was not called radio and instead was called, catch this, Damon, and you're on the forefront of it, you may like to think that you need the young kid doing it, but the young kid's also learning from you with what you're doing because you're doing an amazing transition pivot in your career as well. And here's what it is. If that class was called, and I bet they have one similar to this, follow me down this path. What if that class was called social media content curation? Do you think there'd be anybody not interested in that class?
Well, that's the thing. So that is what they're teaching now. That is. But the old, look at it this way. When I say that they don't do radio anymore, I mean, she brought me into the room where the student radio station used to be. And that room is now a production studio for something else. There is no student radio on the campus anymore because there were no students wanting to study radio the same way there are no students looking to create buggy whips anymore.
You could also call it, so I called it social media content curation, which might be a little too forward because I'm not necessarily wanting to teach people how to eat cheeseburgers and tell me where to go eat them, even though I do watch a lot of that content and enjoy a good new cheeseburger. Anytime you can send one, please do send it my way. But could also be called podcast production. And frankly, if you want to sound cooler, podcast hosting and production, because by the way, people that are doing podcasts, certainly if they're starting them, they're both hosting and producing those podcasts. That's what most people are doing. And learning that skill of being able to take your voice and put it somewhere that matters and make it look however you want it to look is a skill on two different sides. And radio taught you and I those skills, but you could do it now. You can get whatever you need from Amazon to put a room together the way Damon and I have and try to do this yourself. You're not necessarily going to be amazing at it at first, but you can certainly try. And if there was a class that gave you those steps and taught you the pitfalls to avoid along the way and taught you what to do with a YouTube thumbnail and taught you what to do in regards to promoting yourself through social media, wouldn't that be an incredible skill to have the rest of your life? Even if you're not talented, but you think your 6-year-old son is and you want to start it with him, it's an incredible skill to have to know how to do this. Because it used to be that an entire team of people had to do this to put you, quote, on air. The idea that you and I can come into a room and turn a light on and be, quote, on air is empowering. It's a little scary for those of us like you who went down a wild path through many cities in this country to ultimately hold that microphone the way that you're dreaming of. It's different. And there's something that feels cheated about someone who can just go into a room, turn a light on and be that same guy and frankly get more views than maybe you at some point. But you being able to go to a class and potentially teach a class like that and say, does anyone know what this is? And you put a microphone from a radio station on the table and the whole class is shaking their head in the wrong direction. We don't even know what that is.
Put a rotary phone down in front of a 14-year-old kid. They don't even know what is that.
But you are the bridge. You are the limbo. You are the liaison from these two things. And so I'd like to see it as a coronation of radio, as a bar mitzvah of radio into what it has become in many ways, which is teaching people how to connect with the people that want to hear what they have to say, period.
I appreciate your enthusiasm. I'm going to throw another Yiddish word back at you. The radio's fakakta. It's done. It's in a lot of trouble. It's in a lot of trouble because the smart men in the room who might have been able to save it or salvage it or pivot it or evolve it aren't in the room anymore. They got priced out too. The entire industry is basically made up of weekend board ops and cheapest available options. And that's scary. And the next generation ain't coming. That's what I just learned.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other scary part though, Damon. And maybe it's just the word radio, but buy a car, Damon. Go buy a new car. Go test drive a new car. And frankly, go get in your car, which, by the way, no one drives a car that's 10 years old unless you're me. I have an '09 Infiniti sitting right here, which needs a little help on the computer screen if anyone wants to help me with that. But the Infiniti drives beautifully. It's a rocket ship, an amazing car. Remember, first of all,
we'll go to Infiniti. So there you go.
Yeah, by the way, you remember going and people actually like to test drive cars. Now you get in a car, you don't even test drive it anymore. You just show me how all the shit inside works, right? Because the technology.
How do I pair my phone to Bluetooth? That's all you need to show me. I'll take the car.
Tell me this much: how many service centers that used to hire all they have to do is hire a mechanic, right? You're constantly replacing mechanics. How many service centers now have people saying exactly what you do? My phone won't connect to my car, period, right? Or CarPlay won't work the way it's supposed to. That's all they're getting. It's no longer about oil changes and I'm having a problem with my transmission. That doesn't even happen. No one even cares about that anymore. My point is everyone drives a new car because you can lease it for half the price that it would cost to own it. And in a new car, you want to tell me, and this is a scary word, where the AM dial is?
Oh, yeah. It's not even in Teslas, right? I mean,
forget about Tesla, Damon. Forget about Tesla. Okay. I think if you went to buy a new Ford, you'd have a tough time finding the AM dial. And that is because you can get all of our favorite radio stations right here because they're all in an app of some form. And that's how people are listening through the CarPlay. That's how they're getting it. So it's just a matter of training your brain to understand that all of that great content is still available. How are you getting it? And are we going to hold on to the way of doing things that maybe we should get quicker to just saying, all right, you're doing it different now. We get it. So to your point, I understand. And no one's got tears rolling down their face about it more than you and me. But if you pivot it and say, you know what, there's still a way to do it, and there's still a way to be really great at it. They're just not certain companies are not paying for it anymore the way they used to. That's a shame.
Right. And again, when there's no gold in that mine, smart and good and talented people stop walking into the mine. And again, this is the death spiral might have been saved, but for the lack of ability to do it, talent to do it, and all sorts of things. And it's in a lot of trouble, man. Evolving media. How about this? Did you see this, Sammy? I don't know. You got a little music coming through.
Do I really?
Yeah,
let me take it.
Just happened there.
Okay.
Anyways, YouTube hits 6 consecutive months now as the top TV distributor. I have officially broken up this couple weeks ago with DirectTV, and I am now YouTube TV in my house. And of course, we have a Fox carrier issue that better be solved before football season starts. But that's, by the way, now that YouTube is so popular, this is why the Fox media thing is happening. But YouTube and Netflix by themselves accounted for more than 1/5 of all TV viewing in the month of July, equaling the total for all cable networks and surpassing broadcast networks. So the ship has sailed, and we are not 25 years away from saying goodbye to television networks. ABC, NBC, or CBS will cease to exist in the next quarter century because everyone's got their own app. You know, well, I'm a fan of this show that was on CBS. That show will have its own app, or it'll be on Paramount or whatever this is where they're putting everything now, because there aren't enough old ladies in the world who are watching afternoon television anymore. They've all died. So we're going modernizing everything. This is a moment in media that is so evolving and changing so rapidly that to be involved in it is basically like you're signing up for the equivalent of career luge. Like, you're going to go down this really fast and it might work out for you, but probably not. You're probably going to crash. It's just nuts. It really is.
It is, but I will say this much about YouTube, and I'm not a YouTube TV guy. I'm holding on strong. Of all the things that I've held on to, I try to be, look, I'm very forward thinking. You and I know I'm the one that says whatever you're doing in regards to replay in sports, do it, because in 10 years, we're going to look back and say, why didn't you do it sooner? And I don't even care how long it takes. And by the way, it doesn't take that long because I can do it from my couch. So that's it on replay. But my point is, usually I'm the guy that's ready to go. Like, you got something new for me, I'm ready to hear it. DirectTV is the one that I hold on tight to. And I just enjoy the sports interface. There's just something about it. I don't know why it warms my heart and soul I just feel like I feel like it's my connection to dictating what I want to watch from a sports perspective.
It took a long time for me to make the choice and break up with it. And the day I did it, I was, I was a little heartbroken. But. And
then you moved on, right? And then and that's it. And then you moved on, and your YouTube girlfriend's working out just fine. So that's okay. And my point is, I still DirectTV, but I've noticed now more than not, I'm looking for highlights for certain things a lot of times. And I used to know where okay, I'm going to ESPN, or I know that certain networks are going to have those highlights for me. MLB Network for my, right? NHL highlight for NHL Network for those highlights. And I'm going, right? And then I realized one day, I said, wait a second, what happens if I go to YouTube, not even YouTube TV? What if I go to YouTube on my smart TV or my Roku I don't have to watch it here. I'll just go to YouTube on my TV and type in Niners Chargers highlights. Guess what I'm going to get?
Boom.
A 15-minute highlight of the game, not a 3-minute highlight, but a 15-minute highlight of the game. Well, that's amazing.
Right. And
it's exactly what I want at the fingertip.
Right. It's not going to contain some Coors Light 6-pack of questions, which are just there to sell Coors. And it's just, people can get what they want streamed straight into their veins without having to go through any traditional media gatekeeper, having to wait through 15 minutes of conversation to get to the conversation that I was actually hoping to hear. You just go straight to what you want to hear. And this is good and bad all at the same time, because you're going to be in an information silo. Information is going to have a harder time finding you if you're not putting yourself in a situation where it might find you. You didn't hear about story X because story Y was all you were interested in. And, story X mattered. You should have known about it, but story Y is all you wanted and it's all you got and it's all you know. And story X just didn't even resonate with you.
Oh, before we get to this day in history and some other things, I just want to say this, Damon. The word niche used to be a negative word. Too niched, right? You're too niche. Right. You're too limited, right? You're too limited. You're putting it all in one bucket. You're too niche. Now, what does niche mean? Oh, that's my niche. Oh, that's very niche. That's exactly what we're looking for. We need more people to talk about that one thing specifically because the audience is looking for that one thing. And when they know that they're looking for that, they're going to find you associated with that. Your niche. It's perfect.
And the dirty word that used to be gospel is broadcasting. No one wants a broadcast.
Right.
They want
the narrowcast.
Narrowcast.
Beautifully said.
Niche. Sheesh. There you go. Days until 11 days until your first 49ers game. 39 days away from your first Warrior preseason game. Sammy, you got some serious lawn care going out in front.
It's amazing what's happening. I'm trying. Look, I've actually, Allie, my beautiful wife, is trying to let them know that, guys, we enjoy you. It's sort of like the mariachi in Heartbreak Kid with Ben Stiller. Guys, we don't need you here right now. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. It's amazing that they're just. This is the soundtrack to what we're doing today.
Let the grass get mowed. Let those weeds get whacked. You're not bothering me at all. We know what's happening. Your first Sharks regular season game is in 44 days, Sharks fans. By the way, there's talking about a big redo of SAP, dumping millions of dollars into that. Now, there's not a lot of buildings like that anymore where you got such a low ceiling and the sound is all trapped in there. Can we tell Hasso Plattner, you're one of the richest dudes in the world. You're in the tech center of the world. You need to build the Inuit Dome. Don't redo SAP. Build something new.
And no matter what, do they call it SAP Center? Is that what they call it?
I think it's still that. Yeah.
No matter what, it should always be called SAP. SAP Shark Tank is just fine, right?
Right.
But the Shark Tank is what that is. And your new building, here's your opportunity. When you make the sphere and the cosm for the Sharks, which is going to happen, Damon, it's going to set that will. You're absolutely right. That building will be. They may green screen the opposition in for the games. It's maybe that high tech. That will be it. And when it happens, I think you're right. That should be the direction. And for the Sharks, by the way, rough one last season, but a lot of excitement around the number one draft pick. This is, the Sharks with an opportunity here to at least make it interesting. So you're right. We got a lot of seasons. It's our favorite time of the year for this exact reason, because you're going to have baseball playoffs, you're going to have the NFL, and you're going to have hockey season getting underway, and college football, of course. And so for that, we absolutely love it.
Only 30 games remaining in the Giants season. But we have 55 days until we're playing NBA games for the Warriors. The Warriors are at the Lakers in 55 days from today. So we are in a really fun sports time of year. Are you ready for some history lessons? Are you ready for today in history?
So excited.
Some serious battles took place today. Some less than serious battles took place today. It's not a huge day in terms of celebrity birthdays, but we do have, turning 64 years old, Tom Ford. You got any Tom Ford in your closet? I can't afford any of that yet.
I think someone got me a bow tie, which, by the way,
Tom Ford bow tie.
Unnecessary, right? A bow tie it's a bow tie. Ernie Johnson rocks it like nobody I know, but a bow tie, and again, the Tom Ford bow tie is black, really, right? It's black or white.
Right.
And so, it's a little, it's got a little more of the ribbon there, but unnecessary. I will say though, what a store to walk into and feel as if you're going to be. Any of the look on Rodeo Drive, which is where Tom Ford is here, in Los Angeles. Any shop you go into, that's going to feel amazing. But there is something about Tom Ford, like you know that this is just.
There and you go. But for money, I too might have been a handsome man.
Exactly. That is, you talk about lipstick on a pig. Tom Ford does it better than anybody.
Happy 46th birthday to Breaking Bad's Aaron Paul. He absolutely crushed his role as Jesse. We haven't seen him in anything since. Is that just typecast going to hang over him? Does he get?
Hey, by the way, And by the way, why is that a bad typecast? You would think that like troubled drug addict turned businessman would be a pretty popular character in a lot of different things. I believe El Camino, was that the name of the movie that was the spinoff to Breaking Bad? He was also so he was clearly a star in that also, but same character, exact character. But again, Danny Trejo is typecast in hundreds of movies because he's an amazing, terrifying villain. I mean, and Aaron Paul is a terrifying, memorable person that you could put in anything. He could be in a horror movie. He could be in a crime thriller, right? I mean, I would think that character would play. And frankly, drug addict is also something that comes up in plenty of movies also.
I don't think the movie Machete gets the respect that it deserves. I like Machete.
Do you know that Danny was a former boxer? I don't know how much you know about him. Trejo's Tacos is the place out here, but I used to sit with Danny. There was a great bar called Rabano's that me and our buddy Chris Morales used to be at almost every night. And Trejo knew the owner and hung out there a lot and would tell boxing stories about when he was in jail. And I mean, it was, by the way, so Trejo is who he is. When you see Trejo, that's not like he's not spending that much time in the makeup chair. Like that's who you get. Danny was that dude and he was amazing.
Happy 39th birthday to Savannah James, Mrs. LeBron. You know, in a world where overexposure is always being applied to LeBron, I appreciate a little I can tell you right now, I don't even know what Savannah James looks like. I mean, I think I've seen her in a couple of videos, but she has done a great job staying like off the radar and not overexposing and him overexposing his. I mean, obviously his kids got overexposed and, you know, they're athletes, but the fact that in a world of the most scrutinized athlete of all time, Savannah just sorts of lives in an ether and never like nobody's got a strong opinion about her one way or the other.
I like that. And again, and supportive and there. And again, the fact that there are children of theirs that are also professional athletes now, you know, this is a new realm for her, of course, but yeah, I would say congrats on that. I love that there's not a ton on that. And I don't know where you stand on Vanessa Bryant, and it's obviously different now, you know, but that was a troubled one, you know, in many ways. And you're right. Savannah has avoided any of that.
Absolutely. You know, she gets to LA. She's going to be on the cover of magazines and all that. No, just very much in the background, not looking to be, you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate a little quiet dignity. This world is in short supply of it. Today, in 1813, Napoleon defeated a larger force of Austrians, Russians, and Prussians in the Battle of Dresden. In other words, Napoleon earned his stripes today. Napoleon became some serious Napoleon, you know, dude, don't mess with that guy today. Big win for Napoleon, Battle of Dresden. Today, by the way, in 1859, petroleum is discovered in Titusville, Pennsylvania, which led to the first drilled oil well in the United States, commercially operating oil well. I would have thought for sure Texas, Oklahoma, Alaska. I didn't. Did you, being a Pennsylvania did you know that the first oil was ever struck there?
Of all the things Philadelphia claims to be the birthplace of, that's not one that I heard.
I didn't know that.
And again, and my family has Middle Eastern background also, and from Philadelphia, I would have thought that would have come up somewhere in the lineage, and I never heard that. And petroleum, I only know in one way: jelly, obviously not to be spread on toast. And when you talk about oil, I will now forever equate oil with Jerry Jones talking about the gusher that gave him the $100 million that he used to buy the Cowboys. When he talks about what that feeling was to drill down and then know that the 800,000 I think he had poured into it was going to be worth it now with what was coming out the other end.
An $800,000 well, which was his biggest oil well investment, made him $100 million. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And he said, I can now buy the Cowboys.
It was a gusher.
It was a gusher. I told you, an interesting day for battles. You had Napoleon getting it done. You had, I forgot to tell you. I skipped it. I went, started with Napoleon. In between birthdays and Napoleon, today in the year 410, the sacking of Rome by the Visigoths ended after a 3-day sacking.
By the way, was that when official sacks were still counted? Was that an official sack? Okay, yeah.
Fred Dean got fucked. Fred Dean played in 409. In 410,
they registered the sack then. Okay, yeah.
Year for the Visigoth free agents. Today in 1869, the world's shortest war, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, which I'd never heard of until today. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, the conflict lasted between 38 and 45 minutes, and Zanzibar lost. Bad day for Zanzibar.
All wars should be short, right? I mean, I think that's, that would be nice. War should be shorter, if not at all. So
was it Mark Twain who basically said that every war should be decided by the foreign leader, the president or chancellor, with a boxing ring, hitting each other with socks filled of manure. And
that's
the first guy who decides, I don't want to be hit with a manure sock anymore, is the loser. And nobody dies. You just get poop socked. That's the way we should handle wars.
It's a great lesson. I'm gonna see if Levi can adopt that. The poop sock might be something we endorse here in the Batesh household.
I mean, first of all, if your son is anything like my two sons, as soon as you say poop sock, he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna want 3 of those. I mean, it's amazing.
Where's the poop sock?
It's amazing how toilet jokes, toilet humor, butt stuff, poop jokes. It's the only language my 6-year-old really wants to speak. Today, in 1955, the very first copy of the Guinness Book of World Records was issued. And I do believe, Sammy, we need to pay tribute to Evolving Media. The New Heights Taylor Swift podcast is the single most downloaded podcast in the history of podcasts. I believe it's already gone into the World Guinness Book of Records with downloads.
Well, let me give credit to a couple things. Guinness Book of World Records. I remember when that was as important a publication as anything I owned. Me and my friends were so fascinated with finding out world records that we might be able to actually apply for, things that we could do that might somehow get recognized in that book. My dad told me last night that he was at the funeral of a good friend recently who apparently hunted and took down the largest bear in America and is in the Guinness Book for that, which, by the way, good luck with that, right? I don't know that he did it with his bare hands. He wouldn't have to get the record, but that's an amazing feat. So, wow. I think his name is Peter Ma. That's so wow on that. And Guinness, again, Guinness beer, let's give it to, I mean, right. Let's just give it of all the Guinness has brought us, the Book of World Records, amazing, but never a better pint. That's for sure.
Taylor Swift's appearance on the New Heights podcast broke a Guinness World Record with 1.3 million concurrent YouTube viewers. Sammy, we got 105 people in the room right now. They had 1.3 million. 13 million YouTube views in the first 24 hours of its release. And wherever it is now, it's it's got to be 50 million. I don't know what it is.
And she's never been more likable. I've never been more excited about. It was great. I don't know. I have nothing negative to say about it. I thought that episode is that's my version of Taylor Swift Forever is what she was on that podcast. That was my favorite version. That's my favorite track she'll ever release.
Today in 1964. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. If you know the sound of it, you'll always sound precocious.
Mary.
Mary Poppins today, its world premiere in Los Angeles in 1964. One of the all-time rookie performances, Julie Andrews. That was her debut.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Debut on the screen. Julie Andrews crushes it. There's not a lot of things from 64 that entertain the hell out of my kids. My kids still love it. Jack loves the chim chimney chiroo.
Let's go.
He loves the step in time. Lots of great stuff. From Mary Poppins. Toppins. Okay. Sorry, it was on just like 2 weeks ago. I'm very
Guess what? It is a tremendous movie, and for kids, yes, and they will be, and those songs would just stick with you in an infectious way.
Don't need modernized new Mary Poppins. Give me old Mary Poppins. It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I don't want to see Chalamet. I don't want to see Johnny Depp. You give me Gene Wilder, and let's do this the right way.
Oompa Loompa, leave it alone.
Oompa Loompa, leave it alone. Today in 2003, Mars made its closest approach to Earth in its elliptical orbit in 60,000 years. And having said that, It was still 34.6 million miles away, but that's what they're calling close. So there you go. It was close, 34 million miles away, but close. Close day for Mars. And finally, I don't know how they decide these things, but it is National Banana Lovers Day.
Ooh, I have a big take on this.
I love a banana. I'm a banana guy. If you said, Damon, what do you want? An orange, an apple, or banana? I'm taking the banana.
I'm so sad that we're wrapping up here soon because we could have started the show and got 90 minutes on bananas.
We could have gone 90 on bananas.
Here, okay, so I'll say it quick, and I know we're getting out of here. By the way, happy birthday, Andrew Siciliano. It's tomorrow, so we'll do that tomorrow for this day. But bananas. Bananas, bread, banana pancake, banana pudding, banana cream pie, banana shake, banana in almost anything. I love it. Banana ice cream, bananas Foster, give it to me. Banana as an ingredient, I love. Peel and eat a banana. Find someone else to entertain. In the pantheon of fruits, as delicious and refreshing as fruits can be, go ahead and peel and eat a banana and tell me that that experience is equal to the marvelous crispness of a gorgeous apple. Think about what you get, the juicy deliciousness from most fruits, and banana is that mealy, ridiculous experience. Or maybe it's too green and you're getting the strings all over the place. Or God forbid, you've had it after the 4 minutes that it's okay before it all turns brown and disgusting. Peel and eat a banana Monday through Friday and tell yourself, oh, I have breakfast, I have a banana. Wake up on a Saturday with a banana and tell me that you're peeling that and eating it and pretending that that's as exciting as going to a brunch with bananas all over shit, but not as a peel and eat banana experience. Banana is easy. I'll take it to go to work for sure. I can peel and eat it and throw it away. It doesn't demand a lot from me, but banana is an experience of truly eating every bite. Nowhere near. It does not crack the top 50 of fruits. You can find ones that haven't been discovered yet. Banana as an ingredient, amazing. Banana as I'm just supposed to enjoy this. Get the F out of here.
First of all, red zone, you're right. First of all, you're comparing apples to bananas. Not apples to orange. If you're comparing apples to bananas, they're not the same. One is a juicy, delicious thing. The other, not. You're not. Here's the thing: if you want juicy, you should be in the peach department, anyways. Juicy peaches, juicy pineapples, juicy oranges. To me, apple every now and then more crisp than juicy. I am a peel the banana guy. And by the way, when I peel my banana, I don't like peel it and then leave it like with a little banana hand. I peel the whole thing. I go full on, just dick in your hand banana and eat that thing.
I'm partaking the peel off also and then throwing it in a blender and doing whatever you're supposed to properly do with that ingredient.
You like banana as an ingredient, not banana as an entree.
Correct. And I enjoy it as an ingredient quite a lot, like improved over many other things. Banana makes things better, but I don't just need it on its own. That's it.
Oh, by the way, I just saw your private message saying that you need to be gone about 15 minutes ago. So
that's it. But look, but I love you. This is what we do.
I'm glad we got into the banana thing, and you and I have been in lockstep on a lot of issues. This is maybe where
of the greatest debates we've ever had. This is the first.
This is goodbye, Stan. We might not be on tomorrow. This could be a rift between the hosts. Anyways, thank you to Andrew Siciliano for joining us. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Ikes. Thanks to the Dubliner. Thank you to the Banana Man himself, Sam Patesh, Sammy Bananas. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, they're bananas.